What is the first thing you always do when you come home? Usually take a big sigh of relief that I'm back home again. Put keys where keys live. Put my keys in the key bowl in the entrance so one don't lose my mind trying to find them. Edit BC. So many mentioned hacking the fob. We live in a locked apartment building. We park our car in a locked underground parking lot across the street, so it would be quite a feat for someone to try and steal our car. Too much trouble for any car thief. I think we are safe, don't worry lol. Catapult my bra as far away from me as possible. Take off my shoes. Open the refrigerator to save checkpoint. What screams, highly educated? My uncle has a PhD. Whenever I asked a question he didn't have the answer to, he'd say, I don't know. But we can find out. And we'd walk over to his computer and he taught me how to Google and how to evaluate sources. So yeah, knowing what you don't know. Not trying to bullshit an answer. And being willing to be educated about what you don't know. Open-mindedness. They usually enjoy hearing different perspectives or different approaches to solving problems. Years ago I worked with engineers and was struck by how often they wanted to know low-tech or alternative ways of doing something, even if they weren't planning on doing it that way themselves. A few of them would also build engines or vehicles that were inefficient in their spare time just because they wanted to learn about the process and marvel at the older technology. I think education taught them all those practice problems were worth solving. Being able to see and explain nuance. I've spent time around a lot of highly educated people, and one thing I've noticed in the math, science heavy folks is a childlike excitement when talking about something in the field that interests them. They also seem to quickly forget that some people in the room don't have their background and they talk about advanced topics as if everyone is on the same page lol. Being able to explain advanced topics in ways that laypeople can understand. Having extreme knowledge about one narrow topic. Dumbass about everything else. They have many leather-bound books and their apartment smells of rich mahogany. What's the most dangerous book ever written? In the last 200 years I'd like to make a case for the influence of sea power upon history. 1660 to 1783 by Alfred Thayer Mahan. All major powers of the world read this book at a time when technology was rapidly advancing. Kaiser Wilhelm, Jackie Fisher, Teddy Roosevelt, Isoroku Yamamoto and more historical figures took this book as gospel. It's also still required reading today at the Navy War College and many defense-oriented post-graduate schools. This influence led to an explosive amount of shipbuilding and eventual conflict in the forms of World War I and World War II. I cannot overstate how influential this book was and how many billions of national capital was spent based upon its words, both historically and still today. Poorly researched mushroom identification guides. Marie Curie's diary. It is irradiated so much that it has to stay in a lead box or something to keep people safe. Basically every other book needs a person to read it and then the person becomes the danger. That diary is dangerous on its own. Malleus Maleficarum. https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/malleus_maleficarum. To Train Up a Child. It's a parenting book about how to train your child like a dog using harsh discipline. A lot of the stuff in it is abusive. The book has been linked to the deaths of a few kids. The Malleus Maleficarum. So many innocent lives were taken because of this book. People of Reddit, what was your, yep he is the one, moment? I always enjoyed taking a trip by myself while in a relationship. The last trip alone, I found myself thinking, this would be more fun if she was here, for the first time. I knew then that she was the one. She had a brain injury days before my birthday. Woke up from a coma and the first thing she did was ask nurses, doctors about me and my birthday. Even though they had no idea who I was. I've never had someone care so much about me to be the first thing they think of when waking up. After brain surgery. We'd been dating less than a year when my job transferred me across the country. I went to talk to her, figuring it was going to be a breakup, but instead, she nonchalantly asked, "When do we leave?" Quote, "We weren't having sex yet, but we were sleeping in the same bed. I was cuddled up with my head on his shirtless chest, woke up in a huge pool of my own drool. Mortified, I grabbed a towel that was thankfully right by the bed, and started to try to sneakily dab it up. He'll never know. I finally look up at his face to check that he hasn't stirred, and he is very awake, and watching me clean up my drool with an amused look on his face. Wasn't grossed out, didn't mock me, slept with me the next night, didn't judge me, knew he was a keeper." 3. We were fostering a stray cat who had had kittens. The kittens all had homes lined up with people we knew. The poor mother cat just had health problem after health problem pop up. We were at the vet with her so many times. She wasn't in pain, but with the vet bills and the behavior stuff that comes with health issues like these, I knew she was unadoptable and would need significant care. I told her, my then girlfriend, that I had to keep the mother cat, even though we both had special needs animals already, and adding more would delay us moving in together. She was like, "Yeah, of course. I love her," like she'd never even considered any other options. She was so kind and loving to that cat, who randomly attacked us and peed on the floor throughout her first year and a half with us. She was as all in as I was every single day. Our passions and values are the same. And my partner is still the most compassionate person I know. We still have the kitty too, who we adore. We were cooking in the kitchen. It just happened. There are no words I know to describe the clarity and joy and peace and comfort that I felt. Maybe just home. It was a moment I won't forget. What is your favorite quote? We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. One moment of patience, in a moment of anger, can save 1,000 moments of regret. Measure twice, cut once. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Arthur Ashe. So I did. It's okay to go through awful places, just don't stop and unpack. Never attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity. What's one movie that everyone should see at least once in their lifetime? Dunkin' Donuts Sexual Harassment Training Guide 1997. Once you watch Casablanca, dozens of cultural references will make more sense. 12 Angry Men. Threads, the 1984 nuclear apocalypse drama from the BBC. You only need to watch it once. Don't watch it before you sleep. And read the TV Tropes Guide. https tvtropes.org/pmwiki/pmwiki.php/film/threads. Beforehand if you have any doubts. It stays with you. I got off hard drugs after watching Requiem for a Dream. Saving Private Ryan. If you watch that beach landing scene and still romanticize war, you're a psychopath. What do you think America would be like today if 9/11 never happened? Oh man, going through airport security would be a breeze. Before 9/11 I went to Canada countless times and never owned a passport. People would stop saying, "Oh, wow, that's really your birthday?" Quote. I scrolled for a while and haven't seen anyone mention the Patriot Act. Night and day difference. Before 9/11 the U.S. was blissfully optimistic about the future. Hell, Congress was having hearing about Eminem swearing in his records. Country music would be a lot better. Subscribe, my brothers.